WrestleMania Part 2, Night 2 on Sunday. It's your boy Icon, and we're back again. Last night for Night 1, we got a great event full of great action, great wrestling matches, wonderful moments that you can take, you can take with you, that'll be with you for the rest of your life throughout the annals of time and space. And then after that, we got Night 2, which was not as good. I'm just being honest. Night 2 was not as good as Night 1, but it was it was still wrestling. So let's go through it. Let's just go through the ins and outs of Night 2 of WrestleMania. So the opening match for this pay-per-view started with Randy Orton and The Fiend. And I was very surprised because I actually thought this was going to be a cinematic match, and it turned out to not be a cinematic match. Thank goodness. So when Orton comes out, opening the show, The Fiend comes out, Alexa Bliss comes out, your man came out of a Jack in the Box, which was which was kind of cool. But and then the two of them have a wrestling match. I almost forgot that they actually had a wrestling match back in the WrestleMania that they did in San Francisco, I believe it was. Like Orton beat Bray Wyatt for the title then. So the two of them are fighting again. Towards the end of the match, Alexa Bliss, she ended up on top of the Jack in the Box, and Orton was looking at her, the Fiend was looking at her, and then all of a sudden, like, this black goo just started pouring down her face and like running down her face, and then that distracted the Fiend for some reason. I don't know why it distracted him, because if the two of them are in cahoots, he should know what she's doing. And then after he was just looking at her weird while she had the black shit coming down her face, he turned around, ran into an RKO, and Orton got the 1-2-3 victory and put the Fiend away. And I was just like, wow, I'm actually glad that was first and we got that out of the way. With all the stuff that the Fiend's been hit with, like tables, ladders, chairs, fire, this, that, and the third, it's like he got hit with all this craziness, like all this hoopla, and he gets taken out by an RKO. So I guess that the RKO is stronger than all the weapons and all the magic, all the magic in the land. And honestly, I'm gonna be real. Like, I didn't, like, even with the build up to this whole thing, like, I didn't care. I didn't care about the build up. I didn't care about the participants involved. Like, I didn't care anything about this match. So I'm just happy that it's over at this point. But it's nice to see Orton get a win on pay-per-view, and I would assume that the Fiend character is dead at this point, because I don't know what else you're going to do. The boy ain't winning no matches. He ain't fighting for championships. Like, he just lost to Orton at WrestleMania. I think him and Bliss are going to split up anyway, so we'll see what happens, how long the Fiend character survives. But like I said, congrats to Randy Orton, and we'll move on to the next match. Yet another match I didn't care about was the women's tag match between Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax, Natalya, and Tamina. And to be honest with you, and I think I said this when I did the part 1 review, the reason why I don't care actually doesn't have anything to do with Tamina, because I like Tamina. Like, I'm actually a fan of Tamina. I like Nia Jax, I like Shayna Baszler. I think Natty should retire and become a coach in the Performance Center, but it's just like I didn't care about all 4 of them together. I'm in the camp of I wanted Naomi and Lana to get the title match, but I'm in the camp of it should have been the Riot Squad. Like, the Riot Squad should have been the ones to go to Night 2 of WrestleMania, and then because it's like the whole heel versus heel thing just doesn't work. But again, it was cool to see Tamina do her thing, and I was actually rooting for Tamina. Like, as much as I wouldn't have cared to see Natalya be a tag team champion, I was rooting for them just for the sole fact of Tamina getting a victory. But it was not to be. It did not come to pass. And in the end, after Shayna Baszler put Natalya in the chokehold, Natalya passed out, and then Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler ended up retaining the tag team championships. So I don't know how long they're gonna go with this tag thing, but who knows? Maybe they'll lose the tag team belts, on Raw tomorrow to somebody, or maybe somebody will get called. Two randos will get called up from NXT, and then they'll just end up beating them. But like I said, at the end of the day, it's nice to see Tamina get a WrestleMania spotlight, but but it is what it is. Like I said, Nia and Shayna retain, and let's move on. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn took the stage next, and this match was actually really good. The feud, and with the feud between the two of them, the build up did make sense. It was a short build up. I think it was only like a 2 or 3 week build up, but it actually did make sense because Sami Zayn's been running off at the mouth for the last like 3-4 months to anybody who will listen talk about all these conspiracies. So it makes sense that someone that's his actual like best friend backstage, someone that he actually knows and talks to, would actually try to talk to him and be like, hey, listen, man, like I think you're just going kind of crazy. For him to get mad, push back, and for the two of them to finally come to, for the two of them to come to blows. And I'm gonna be real, like there, I don't think anybody in their right mind thought Kevin Owens was going to lose this match, but there was more than one occasion where I was like, yo, Sami Zayn might actually win this shit. Because Sami Zayn put on, he reminded me of like NXT Sami Zayn. Like he fought his ass off, like he did what he had to do in the ring. He put it all in the ring, and I can't be mad at that. But he didn't get the victory. Kevin Owens won with the stunner, and then, after that, like the social media dude pushed pushed Sami Zayn because, he got mad at him, and then Kevin Owens gave him the stunner. Stone Cold. Basically, all Kevin Owens got to do is just start drinking beer now, and the transformation will be complete. But like I said, thank you to the two of them for putting on a good match and bringing up the show, because like I said, the show was kind of dragging. It's got to drag it up until that point. So we'll see where Kevin Owens goes from there. He did tease on Talking Smack that he was going to enter the Money in the Bank, ladder match, so he can get the Money in the Bank contract to take out Roman Reigns. But the next pay-per-view is Backlash. So we'll see where that goes from there, and we'll see what Sami Zayn has to say, because we know he's gonna be bitching on Friday night. But again, hats off to both gentlemen, and we're moving on. Everybody's favorite bro, Riddle versus Sheamus for the United States Championship, and this match surprised me because I honestly didn't care about the two of them either. Though the feud of like the whole build up, how like he broke his scooter or whatever. I mean, I thought that was very entertaining, but. Sheamus beat the hell out of Riddle, and Riddle can take a beating. Like Riddle is very good at taking a beating, and he sells it very well. And then like his comebacks are done very well. So I believed every single thing that happened. But that finish was dope because, Riddle, like Sheamus was down. Riddle jumped on the middle rope and tried to do a moonsault, the lion saw, and Sheamus bro kicked his face upside down to the point where like his lip started bleeding from the teeth. And I can't be mad at that. Like I said, as much as I'm not really a fan of both guys individually, a good match is a good match, and these two actually had a damn good match. And Sheamus is the United States champion, which feels right for him because he went through all this stuff, for the last couple of months, fighting for the title, fighting Lashley, fighting Drew McIntyre. Sheamus had a spotlight on him for a while, so to see him get the United States Championship was cool, and I hope eventually he loses it to Keith Lee when Keith Lee finally comes back. But congratulations to Sheamus for capturing the United States Championship, and good outing by Matt Riddle. I salute you both. Next up was the only match on night 2 I actually did give a damn about, and that was the Nigerian drum match between Apollo Crews and Big E. And Big E got the Wally entrance, and I thought that was really cool. He's also the only person who got a live performance entrance who I think lost his match, but it was really cool to see him do the walk. And honestly, like I said in part 1 review that I actually missed the Thunderdome, but I miss also the live performances because I got really excited for that. It was funny as hell because Wale, he rapped the first verse, and then for the second verse he started lip singing, and then I guess he forgot he was lip singing, and then he took his mouth away from the microphone a couple of times while his words were still going because he was rapping over a track, but he didn't do that in the first verse, which I thought was funny. Man, anyway, so the two of them are doing this Nigerian drum match, didn't even use the drums, and in the end of the match, it's like you knew Apollo was gonna win because Biggie beat him like 50 million times, like like on SmackDown, but he cheated. So Biggie actually does have a gripe. He does have a legitimate gripe because in the end, after Apollo tried to come off the top rope for the frog splash through a table, Biggie moved out of the way. Apollo went crashing through the table, and then Biggie went for the big ending. But then Dabba-Kato, a returning Dabba-Kato, he found his way out of Raw Underground. Dabba-Kato came up, gave Biggie the Hassan chop, knocked him down, and then Apollo Crews got the victory. And Apollo Crews, after giving him the steal, is now your Intercontinental Champion. And I'm happy for Apollo Crews because the new gear looks dope because he wears the pants now. He's got the spear with him. He's got the scar. I like Apollo Crews. I like even his accent. Like I'm down with the Nigerian accent of Apollo Crews. Like I'm back in this. I was a fan of this dude anyway, but like I said, I'm a huge fan of him now that he's a heel. And it's unfortunate for Big E because, but with that being said, I hope Apollo Crews actually wins the rematch and then let Big E go on to face the Universal Champion, because we got a lot of contenders now. Like Big E could face the Universal Champion, Cesaro could face the Universal Champion. You could throw Seth Rollins in the mix. Like a lot of guys have a claim to that. So like let Apollo beat Big E and then let Apollo fight some new people and build up some new stars as the Intercontinental Champion. So kudos to Apollo Crews, and we are moving on to the next championship match. Okay, so part of the reason why I didn't care about Asuka versus Rhea Ripley, because I actually like Asuka. I do like Asuka, and, I'm not a fan of Rhea Ripley, but I do enjoy Rhea Ripley's work. The reason why I didn't care about this match was because Rhea Ripley in no way, shape, or form earned the position that she was in. She did not win the Royal Rumble. She did not do a number one contenders battle royal. She did not have a number one contenders tournament. She did not have a number one contenders match. The girl debuted at the Royal Rumble, just wasn't on TV for 2 months, and then she just shows up and is handed a championship match that she did not earn. And then once that happened, everybody knew she was gonna win the damn thing because she lost to Charlotte last year. The one positive thing I will say about this is like I'd rather Rhea Ripley than Charlotte Flair, but but after watching Sasha versus Bianca, like this was just like, yeah, it's because like I said, there was no excitement, there was no build up, there was nothing about it that was special, and then there's really nobody on Raw because you done threw everybody in a tag team. See, now if they take the belts off of Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, at least the two of them can go after Rhea Ripley now, and then let the other girls like deal with the women's tag titles. So I hope that happens. But I mean, at the end of the day, congratulations to Rhea Ripley. I just wish this whole thing would have been done better. And Asuka, I guess Asuka will get her rematch at Backlash, and then she'll go to obscurity before they eventually end up trading her back to SmackDown. So that Rhea Ripley is your new women's champion, and let's see what she does with it now going forward. And the final match to conclude WrestleMania, specifically night 2 of WrestleMania overall, the Universal Champion, the Tribal Chief, bringing that tribal beef versus the all nature, the Planet's Champion Daniel Bryan versus the comeback kid, the rated R 47-year-old superstar Edge. Like this was a good match, but a lot of the air was taken out of it for me. Like, can you tell I actually liked night 1 a lot better? The air was taken out of this for me with all the excessive cheating by Jey Uso. It was just way too much. It was just way too ridiculous. And then when they finally got him out of the picture, then it turned into an actual match. The spot where Edge used that bar of the chair to put a crossface on Roman Reigns, that was dope. And then when Daniel Bryan came over and did the label lock on the other side, that was cool too. But then it was just like, well, he can't tap now. He can't tap now because both his arms are tied up, but it was very cool to see. Edge looked great. Daniel Bryan was on his A game, and Roman Reigns did a good job as well. Finally being able to curse at those fans, that are booing him now. So that he did too. He was yelling at the fans. He was just like, "Yo, it's my house," this, that, third. So but in the end, the weird thing about the spot, they did the concerto where Roman Reigns, he did a concerto on Daniel Bryan, and he tried to do it to Edge. Edge moved out of the way. He hit him with the spear and everything. And after he put Edge down, because I believe he did hit Edge with the concerto. And then after he put Edge down, he threw Edge on top of Daniel Bryan and pinned both guys. And I'm just like, I don't understand how the referee counted that because Edge was on top of Daniel Bryan. So if anything, it was a double pin. So now I'm kind of thinking, now that Roman Reigns retained the championship, which was corny, Edge has a gripe now this Friday on SmackDown. Edge can come out and say like, hey, like, I actually pinned Daniel Bryan. I don't know why I didn't get credit for that. And Daniel Bryan could even say like, yo, I had him in the bell lock and he tapped. So this thing with the three of them is definitely going to continue. We going to keep doing this. And and that's fine. And that's fine too, because like I said, once Uso got out the way, it actually turned into a really good match. Although he did come back later and he tried to spoil the ending. My guess is if they do another triple threat match at Backlash, then Jimmy Uso is going to come back and then they're going to interfere in this whole thing. And then watch Bryan and Edge end up being a tag team going after the Usos. But but at the end, Roman Reigns, he did get the victory. So Roman Reigns spoiled the night by retaining the championship. He was in the Brock Lesnar spot, and that's how the show ended. So but it was like I said, it was like like part 2 felt like it felt like a glorified Monday Night Raw. It actually did feel like a glorified Raw. The first half of the show felt like the pre-show. Like straight up, like the first half of part 2 felt like the pre-show. Part 1, night 1 was way better. It had way more action. It had way more drama. The Cesaro Seth Rollins match, you know, the Lashley Drew McIntyre match, and Bianca versus Sasha was the best match of both nights. You know, like I don't give a damn what Rhea Ripley and like Asuka did. So, and you know, so for me, the real WrestleMania was night 1, and I'll always hold that in like deep in my heart going forward. So thank you for tuning in. Let me know what you thought about night 2 of WrestleMania. Let me know what you thought about night 1 of WrestleMania. What was your favorite match? What was your favorite outcome for night 2? Where do you think some of these feuds go forward? You know, hit me up on YouTube and we'll talk about it. Definitely check me out on social media. Leave a comment, like, and or subscribe, because I got other videos coming out for all the DC superhero television shows as well as Marvel as well. So thanks for tuning in, guys. And to cap off WrestleMania, until next year, until next time, I'm signing off, and I'm out this bitch.